oh, I need to be big. I need to be strong. Like, I actually have recently been feeling this pressure of like, I need to protect. I need to feel like I don't want to be like some out of shape person that can't protect like my girlfriend or my future kids. Like, I want to have this kind of physique or like a body that knows like I can protect.
He goes, a kind man is one thing, but you need to be a kind, dangerous man too. There is a responsibility of a father to be somewhat physically healthy. You have to be the example. Ethan, what's going on, brother?
How you doing?
How many times are we going to start? How many times am I going to start this show and not hit the record button?
I think it's like been 3 times in a row now.
I know, and we've only done 5 shows, so I'm not doing so good. I got a failing grade. So
I saw it coming. I was like, the record button's not recording, and you said, all right, 3, 2, 1, and then you started talking. I was like, the record button, Dad. Come on, Dad.
Gosh, it's that's just a preview for you. When I'm like 90 and you're like, Dad, I already told you that there's no toilet paper in there and you took a dump again.
For the 7th time today.
It doesn't count if it's all liquid.
Oh.
Colton's coming in here. What's up, Colton? What do you got, man? Hello.
You want to come say hi?
Yeah, come say hi. Colton's going to come join the show real quick. Oh, Bernie is too. Oh, he's not even in camera, though. You got to like scooch him over right there. What's up, then?
What?
Hey, scoot over on Ethan's lap. Oh, there you go. Colt, can you hear me?
Yes.
How you doing, man?
Good.
Good. Hey, well, now that you're a part of the show here real quick, what did you just start?
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo. That's right, man. And how much do you like it?
A lot.
A lot. You've only done 1 class as we're recording today. So what did you learn in that first class?
Front kicks and like front punches.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to test you because tomorrow's a big day. So what do you have to do tomorrow morning?
Show all my moves that you told me to do and do all the things you like lock in and put your...
That's right. Hands up, right?
Yeah.
Hands up. Yeah. So, yeah, we did that. So we did some practicing outside tonight. Me, you, and your big brother. We practiced on the pads and, but what do you have to do tomorrow morning as soon as you get out of bed?
Make my bed.
Make your bed.
Or also I had to do 100 jumping jacks, which is horrible.
100 jumping jacks. Even Bernie's getting in on the show today.
I mean, it gets you exercise, but it's tiring because it's 100.
That's right. It's 100 jumping jacks. Okay, so you've done 1 class.
Yeah.
You've got your 2nd class tomorrow. What are you most excited about?
Showing all my teacher's moves.
What are you excited to show them?
All the stuff you teach me.
Yeah, it was fun. Dude, so for those of you guys listening in the audience, what we did tonight is, so Colton had his first Taekwondo class. I did martial arts for about, 12 years, like even into my adult life. I love martial arts. And what we did tonight is we just kind of polished some things up, right? We did a couple punches, right? You remember what this one was?
A hook.
A hook,
Yeah.
right? Nice job, dude. And then what kind of a kick did we do tonight?
A front kick.
A front kick. And then we also did one extra thing. So when you're really, really close to somebody and you can't throw a punch, what do you do?
Elbow.
Elbows. That's right. Man, you catch on quick. And just so we know, which one is your strong hand?
My right or left?
Your left.
Left.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you know what they call that? Southpaw. It's called a southpaw. That's what they call left-hand fighters, is southpaw. Do you know who Rocky Balboa is?
What?
You know Rocky.
Do you know Rocky? You know the movies Rocky? Have you seen movies Rocky? Boxing? Yo, Mick. Yo.
No.
I'm telling you right now, we're going to beat that big Russian.
No, I haven't.
No. He just loves hearing himself talk through that thing. But we're going to have to watch Rocky. But we just got done watching Karate Kid.
Yes.
Yeah. You like that?
Yes.
Okay, so we learned how to punch, we learned how to kick, and all that good stuff. But do you remember one of the things that Taekwondo is supposed to teach you, and it has nothing to do with your hands or feet? Starts with an R.
What?
That's a W. Respect. Remember?
Power. Banana.
No, respect. 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 Right?
Respect.
Yeah, it means you respect others. And then it's also courteous.
Braveness.
Brave, yeah. Perseverance, yeah.
Honest.
Honesty, very good. Dude, you rocked it, man. Give me some knucks. All right, we can't reach. All right, so give the mic back to your brother. We got to finish our show. But dude, hey, Colton.
Yeah.
You want to say, go out, live
Go.
legendary.
Go out, live legendary. I'm a future.
It's he's so cute. This message is brought to you by my 9-year-old, Colton Hagner. Oh, man.
And we're back.
Yeah, we're back. That's what you call a dad show right there.
There you go.
Okay, so all right. Well, hey, where were we even starting? We're talking about disgusting liquid poop.
Yeah, to be continued. This is a boy's house, you know.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I always talk about it on the podcast. You know what? Actually, I would love to. Let me ask you one question before we get started on today's topic. Today's topic is gonna be a doozy, man. It's gonna be a good. It's gonna be a good one because I don't know if you and we've had what we're talking about today, like this discussion, kind of like more in passing. It's like, oh, you know, back in my day, we didn't have cell phones. And we just kind of like say things back when we didn't have Snapchat and all this other stuff. And, But we've never, I don't know if we've ever had like a really in-depth conversation about what your generation, like what you guys deal with compared to what I dealt with. I think it's much different.
I don't think I can recall a time we've actually went into depth about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't either. I think I think today's topic will give a really good perspective. Like, so I want to talk about why this show today is important for dads out there. And I think today's show will give you a really, really good perspective of Ethan, like what you go through. Yeah. You know, like the pressure you feel, the things that maybe go through your mind, the things you see your friends go through as it relates to social media, pressure, maybe anxiety, that kind of thing. And then I'll kind of compare it to how I grew up and how it was different, you know? And I don't know better or worse, but just different. So, and I think that it will help shed a light on, you know, dads out there who are just like, I kind of don't understand that world, you know? So, but before we get started today, who's our sponsor?
I forgot. First Form.
First Form, baby. Hey, so check this out, guys. I just tried one new thing today for the first time because it finally came in. It was the Grape Smash energy drink.
Oh, sounds delicious.
It was quite amazing. I will tell you that. Like, but you gotta like grape. You know, some people are not grape fans. I love grape. So like,
I've always grown up loving grape and orange flavored like sodas or juices. Yeah. Like orange juice, grape juice, or grape Powerade, orange Fanta. Like, those are my favorite drinks.
Me too. And the Fanta, like the fruit sort of sodas. But this one's really, really good. But the cool thing that I think a lot of people don't know is First Form actually fortifies their energy drinks with vitamins. So it's kind of cool about that. And there's some electrolytes in there too, which is pretty cool. But go check them out. They also just came out with a brand new level 1 protein powder for all my little inner fat kids in there who grew up just those little Debbie iced oatmeal cream pie things. My gosh. Oh dear Lord. If you liked those things as much as I did, they now have an iced oatmeal cookie protein powder level 1. Are you kidding me? That is on order. I am getting that for sure. I can only imagine. We're going to make ice cream out of that one.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I recently just had some, and it was like the usual, like, chocolate salted caramel, right?
The ice cream we make?
Yeah.
The Formula 1? Yeah.
Yeah, and it legit tastes like ice cream you buy at the store or from like a ice cream place. Like I taste a little bit of it. I can taste a small difference, but I've always had like different experiences with protein products. Like Like I could very much tell. Like you used to always try to convince me to have something like that, and you be like, it literally tastes like what it is. Like you say, a protein Reese's cup, and I'd be like, no, it does not, and I eat it, and it would taste awful, awful. It would taste so gross. It would taste so chalky and chewy, and it had this weird flavor to it. It wouldn't taste anything like chocolate or peanut butter.
Are you talking about like the Quest peanut butter cups?
Yes.
I like those though.
I don't. Quest in general, I'm sorry. It's not my favorite.
It's not my favorite either. No, it's not my favorite either. But yeah, like, so disclaimer though with the ice cream thing. So we play around a lot in this family with different protein ice creams. You got to have a Ninja Creamy. It's not like you can just throw together some Formula One and milk and put it in the freezer and this thing's going to work out.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You did that the other night. You mixed it up the one time. You're like, look, it's done. I'm like, no.
I didn't realize you had to put it in multiple times.
You got to put it in at least twice.
I didn't know that, though.
Yeah.
I thought it was done.
Otherwise
it was very clumpy.
It's very clumpy, and then you put in just a little bit extra Fairlife, and it creams right up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we in our house lately, we've been taking Formula One, chocolate Formula One and chocolate salted caramel with a chocolate Fairlife, and then just a little bit of zero sugar Jello or pudding mix, and then you just freeze that overnight. You put it in a blender bottle, shake it up, put it in the container, freeze it up, mix it up, and oh my gosh, it is delicious. 1 pint, 76 grams of protein, which
I only have like only a quarter of that, and I'm like stuffed.
I know, but like here's the thing, like, you know, we're talking a lot about first form, and as you should be kind of, because like protein is satiating, which means it'll help you feel fuller longer, which means usually when you eat something sweet, you're hungry like 30 minutes later for something sweet.
Yes.
When you have protein, prioritize protein, which you should have at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight you are. And if you're recovering like I am, I'm actually eating about 1.2 grams per pound of body weight right now. So I'm trying to get like 225. And so like a pint of that ice cream really helps me out. And I get about 75 grams right there. But
do you actually eat a whole thing of that?
I usually do.
Do you actually?
I do. I that's the fat kid me though.
Well, at least it has protein in it.
I know. This stuff is so good though, man. Oh my gosh. And I will say, I throw a little bit of Ready Whip on the top. Oh my God, it's so good. Anyway, okay, enough about first form. We've gone on and on. Guys, check out, go to we do 1stpphorum.com/Dad Edge for orders over $75, you get free shipping. Orders over $150, they usually throw in some sort of goodies in there for you. It's usually a 4-pack of energy drinks, something like that. Orders over $250, they'll throw in a t-shirt as well, and you'll get all 3 of those things. And by the way, it really helps out the show, so it helps out the movement. So go check them out. So anyway, today, let's get into today's topic, which is your generation versus my generation, and I think the pressure of social media. So like, let's start here. How many platforms do you have on your phone that you're a part of in social media?
Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. I guess Facebook, but I don't usually use that. I usually use that for like groups for like either the neighborhood or a wrestling page.
Can I ask about that? So your generation, they're not really into Facebook. Is that right?
No, not really.
And why is that? Like,
we always thought it was more of like an adult thing, because Mom would scroll on it here and there. You probably scroll on it here and there and just find random stuff. But we always thought of it more as an adult social media platform, because we never really scrolled on it. It was not like Instagram where you scroll through it constantly. I mean, you can. There are reels on there, like Instagram. But I mostly use Instagram for my reels.
And what is it about the reels? Like, tell me about that. Like, that's something I'm trying to understand. Like, the Instagram algorithm knows me, and it knows that I like exercise, food, supplements, Ninja Creamy recipes, because I get those all day long. Dogs that people do voiceovers for.
Those are really funny.
I always send those. Oh my God, there's one guy I follow, The Rock. I think they call him Rockstar, and he does these voiceovers for dogs, and it just I laugh so hard.
I think I know who you're talking about, because I see his videos all the time. I just saw a bunch of them today while I was scrolling through TikTok.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
But like or I'll get like a lot of married stuff, like a lot of married people stuff. I get a lot of that. But what is it about the reels that I guess just completely intrigue you?
It just has a lot of my interests. Obviously, when you first get it, it kind of like sets up your algorithm. Like it, when I first got TikTok, it gives you a series of questions. Actually, like, what sports do you like? What are your favorite hobbies? Those kinds of things. And it will give you like video games, funny movies, funny shows. It would just give you a variety of questions and a variety of answers of like what you can answer them with. I I can't really remember. I don't think Instagram does that. Does it?
I don't know if it does that or not, but I know it like picks up on
It does.
what
Like,
you like.
it almost like if you follow someone, it will
Yeah.
start giving you the things similar to that or more things
Right.
that is a part of that page. But on my algorithm, I'll share it. I don't really care. I mean, it's a lot of exercise stuff like you. Now, here's the funny part actually. At one point, my algorithm was full of different ways to make protein products, like Ninja Creamy stuff. And when I was wrestling, I would get so mad because I'd be like, that looks so good. And I would be so hangry because I lost so much weight. It was concerning to you guys.
Yeah, it was.
And I was so mad because I couldn't eat it. I was like, Dad, whenever I'm going to send you everything that I want to make with you. And whenever wrestling season's over, we're making it. And we haven't really made much since
We have
wrestling
not.
season.
But we got to do that.
Yes, we do. But
yeah.
most of my algorithm is just a variety of things. It's not like scripture sometimes. Like here and there, I'll get like a Bible verse or two. I don't really care. Like it's pretty cool to kind of be reminded while I'm scrolling. Or I'm into like cars and motorcycles. I'll get a lot of like racing videos or sounds of cars and different types of engines they have. And I'll also have like, I don't know why I'm blanking on some of it. A bunch of it's just really random, silly stuff. A lot of couples stuff for me too on Instagram. Like a lot of date ideas, funny couple videos that people do. It's very interesting.
So I have a question for you about the reels then. So like, I think I speak for a lot of dads out there, and this is me included, and I'll just be very honest with you. Okay. Like, so when I see you and Mason, because you guys are the ones in the house with the phones, when I see you guys like constantly just scrolling into the Neverland, there's a part of me, man, that I get really triggered, and I want to be like, dude, like what the heck? You look like a hypnotic moron. I'm serious. Like that's what kind of goes through my mind. I'm like, you look like you're a hypnotized zombie.
Oh my God.
Like watching that stuff. Like even your brother, like he'll lay on his side and be like, yeah. I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating, but like I think I speak for a lot of the dads out there. There's just like you see your kid and you're like, are they in there? Like, are they alive? Like this thing. It's almost like I can't remember what movie it was, but it was like where the kids stare at the TV and they're like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like we're going back and forth. We're going back and forth with my generation. My grandfather used to hate when I would spend too much time in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching Rambo.
Oh my god.
And he's like, "Oh, Rambo Dumbo, good." Like or I'd watch the Cosby Show, or I would watch with Bill Cosby, or I would watch Different Strokes, which was a really popular show when I was a kid, or like Silver Spoons was a big show, Family Ties, and my grandfather, like Knight Rider, like that was a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
I know
Dukes
exactly
of
what you're
Hazzard.
talking about.
Yeah, like all those shows. And my grandfather would be like, your brain is turning to mush. Like he would just.
That's what you guys would tell us, because
yeah.
before we even had phones, we would always sit in front of the TV.
Yeah.
You guys' brains are turning into mush.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
But the thing is that, so let me share this though, that I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say this, I'm just such a hypocrite. But like, so I'm scrolling through Instagram one day, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, the majority of the time that I'm doing my social media is when I'm going to the bathroom. It's like a total kill.
I mean, I think that's 99% of the world, honestly.
I think so too. I mean, but now the entire world knows, minus my reels, my team does that. But like when I post personal stuff, like when I'm posting like my story, it's usually like I'll take videos and photos throughout the day. And then when I post my story, it's usually when I'm going to the bathroom. I'm
All
like,
right, well, everyone, now you know what he's doing in his free time.
I'm going to get DMs now. I know what you're doing when you post it. but no.
Was it a good one?
I'm gonna get so many messages. Like, I know what you're doing when you post.
I don't know. Maybe I'll get messages too. I'll probably get a lot of followers and people will DM me and be like, "Was your dad in the bathroom making this one?"
Oh my God. That's what I love about this show. It's such behind the curtains. But anyway,
yes,
so
it really is.
I'm in the bathroom. I'm scrolling through social media, and there's this. I always, for some reason, I always stop when I see someone not talking. And they're holding up like a sign, you know what I mean? And then the sign like says something like, and it was this girl, it was this blonde girl. And she looked like totally normal blonde girl. And she was like standing outside. She was wearing like a white t-shirt and jeans. And she was holding a sign. She probably looked, I don't know, 14 to call it 16-ish.
She was a teenager.
Yeah, she was a teenager. And she's like, if you're raising a teenager, stop and watch this. That was the first sign. She wasn't saying a word, but she was holding a sign. And then she tossed it. She's like, I'm sure you get triggered when you see me scrolling on my phone. And I'm like, okay, she's got me now. Like, now I'm watching. She throws a sign. And she's like, you have to understand something about my generation that you might not understand. And then she flips it again. She said, unfortunately, my generation is addicted to quick dopamine hits. Which is, you know what dopamine is, right?
Yeah, it's like the chemical that gives you happiness in the brain, right?
Right. And so like when you're scrolling and you see something, it's like pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
It's like dopamine.
Well, it depends on what it is, honestly. Some stuff can make you kind of mad or triggered on social media.
It can, but that when you see that, you're also getting a hit of like, adrenaline too. So you're getting these constant hits that your brain just sort of gets addicted to. So she goes, my generation, and this next sign was, my generation, unfortunately, is addicted to quick dopamine hits. And then she flips a sign. She's like, and I know this makes you angry, but you might not understand that when you tell me, get off my phone, stop scrolling, it hurts my feelings because, and she flips it, when you tell me to do something else, I don't know exactly what to do because my generation hasn't really been taught. Now, there's a part of me, I'm going to keep going here. There's a part of me when I saw that part, I was like, gosh, that's such a cop out. Like, come on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she flips it again. And then she goes, what I really would like is a conversation and a connection with you, meaning parents.
Yeah.
And then she flips it again. She's like, what would it be like if instead of you yelled at me to get off my phone or stop scrolling, if you sat next to me and had a conversation with me? And then she flipped it again. She's like, around other things that maybe we could do. Maybe you could give me some ideas because my generation isn't used to generating ideas as easily as yours.
Yeah.
Because
unfortunately.
Yeah. And then she flips it again. She goes, because at the end of the day, all I really actually crave is connection to somebody and to you. And I was like, and when I saw that, like, I was like, it really hit me.
Yeah.
Like, I guess in a way, it's no different than my grandpa coming into me and being like, your brain's turning to mush. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, I talked about this on a podcast not too terribly long ago because, like, I didn't care what my grandfather was doing. Like, I would go help him in the yard, like landscaping. Like, he would grow tomatoes and landscaping. And like, I will never forget this. I don't know what the guy was thinking. My grandfather was always like, you know that I'm a hard worker, right?
Yeah.
My grandfather put me to shame. My grandfather, I'll never forget this. I think I was Colton's age, and I was helping him do this. And even the whole time we were doing this, I was like, why in God's name are we doing this? This man was washing his landscaping rocks. He took a metal trash can full of soapy water, and we would shovel these rocks in the trash can, wash the rocks because they were white, and then put them back in the landscaping, and they were like all clean. It was like the gravel rocks. He would wash them, and I'm like, was like, what is this guy doing? But they looked really nice when we were done.
Yeah.
But that was a lot. That's a lot for me to say. Like, I would rather be out there like helping him and like just hanging out with him
Yeah.
than watching TV. But when like he would bark at me to get off TV, it was like, it kind of hurt my feelings. But there was that part of me as a kid that I would do anything just to be with him.
Yeah.
So I share that with you because I want to know your opinion on this. Like, when you're scrolling, is it because, like, so for instance, if I were to go down there, and by the way, guys, is any of this planned?
No, we kind of just, like, we honestly had no idea what we were even going to talk about today.
Yeah, we knew kind of the topic. Right?
Yeah, but we were just like, how is this going to go? Like, we were discussing it. I was like, I don't know. Maybe I understand how this is going to go. And then you started talking, and now I'm getting a better idea of what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know.
So here's the question for you as a parent. Like, what does it feel like, number one, when I say, dude, come on, get off your phone? Like, what the hell, man? Like, because there are times I say stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then there's a part of me, too, that, like, I want to hang out with you. I want to talk with you, but I feel like I'm taking you away from something that's important and I'm going to annoy you. So, like, there's that.
I wouldn't say important.
But that's
scrolling.
That's what I tell myself. So, like, in your perspective, I just gave you my perspective of what it was like. My grandpa, like, would say stuff like, but what is it that you would want to hear? Is there truth to that post that I saw with that girl with the signs?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I guess I never really thought about it that way, and I've actually never seen that video. I have seen similar videos where people would make signs and flip it, but I wouldn't really remember what they were saying. But I've never seen that video, but I have seen videos like it. I guess whenever I hear that, like come on, dude, get off your phone, like, go do something more productive. I don't know. I guess I am looking for, like, a connection. I don't know, honestly. I guess with the feelings I get, I'm just like, oh, I hate it when you're, like, talking to me like this, and so annoying. I just want to decompress or relax, or I don't feel like doing anything today. But I guess another thing would be, like, finding something to do. Help me find something to do. But not in, like, the voice of being disappointed, I guess.
Is it hard for you to find something to do?
I guess now it's getting harder because when I grew up, I kind of grew up kind of like you guys did, except I had a TV I would sit in front of most of the time too, or an iPad. I used to sit on Mom's iPad quite a bit too. But we would hang out with friends after school. We would if you guys told us to get off the TV and do something else, we would find something else. Like, me and Mason would always play together. We would always find friends to hang out with, or we would play a game, or, like, we made up a game downstairs in our other house in the basement. It was unfinished, so we could, like, rollerblade, scooter, skateboard. We didn't really touch the skateboard because I was terrible at it. But we had this, like, little arcade basketball shooting game. Like, you shoot the baskets and it, like, gives you points. And Mason had a ripstick. Is like the skateboard with two wheels. Yeah. And I was on my rollerblades. Yeah. And it was like a mixture of hockey and basketball. But the nets were together instead of on. So deadly. It is pretty deadly, except we weren't on the same teams. We would just interact. We would, like, pretend we are on the same team against imaginary people. And it would be very interesting. Like, we would just kind of make stuff up. And we had, like, Imaginext, like, action figures and setups. Like, I have a giant castle. Mason has a space station and a bat cave. I have, like, little catapults. You know the Imaginext toys?
Yeah, sure. Those are awesome, by the way.
I loved playing with those. I would go through phases where I would only play with those by myself and just use my imagination. It was so much fun. And each thing had, like, little attachments on the characters, like gas masks, helmets, motorcycles, cars.
I don't know what company made Imaginext, but they were geniuses.
Oh, man. My gosh, I still love it. Like, we have a bunch of them in the stores, and I'm like, man, I'd look at them and be like, that was fun. And I took one down at one point. I started playing with all the oldest stuff. Like, the castle one that you guys got me for my birthday once, it has this, like, little contraption with a dragon. Like, if you pull on the other side of the castle, if you push down on this little lever, it'll, like, chomp down, and it had sound effects.
totally
Anything could be like a growl with like thunder and lightning. I'd be like, whoa.
Oh, dude, yeah. I remember you getting that, and I remember playing that. I know what you're talking about, man. When you go back to like old toys, like I remember being like in my teenage years, and I'd find like my old He-Man stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you like go downstairs, and then your mom come downstairs and be like, "What are you doing?" Nothing. Just going through some old clothes down here.
Actually, that reminds me of something. If I could just
Yeah.
kind of derail real quick, just really fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I'm currently gutting my room. It's been taking me a couple days, but I'm currently gutting my room. But you used to gut your room here and there, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever go in like your closet or like you look through your dresser or something and find something random and be like, I found a box full of just random things, like this little toy circuit board. It was like, I don't know how to explain it.
I think I know what you're talking about. The thing where you'd put it together and you could almost like engineer your own thing.
Yeah, like
I
it had
remember
these
that.
like certain things and it had instructions on how you can like make a band spin,
Right.
or an alarm clock. And I also found like, what else was it? It was like some really random stuff. I found a bunch of costumes in there, and I like put on the firefighter costume I wore not so long, like a couple of years back. I was like, I remember this. Like it's just random stuff you find and you just try it out again. Like what I was saying about the Magic X, like you find it and you're just like, I want to play with it for a second, like what I used to do.
So you kind of, I mean, because the thing was, smartphones really wasn't big when you were like a little guy, like they are
No,
like
it
right
really
now.
wasn't. I mean, it kind of started to when I got older, like when I was getting into like fourth grade, more like fifth grade actually. Fifth grade, sixth grade, especially sixth grade.
Yeah.
That's when kids started getting their first phone. And then we were just like, when can we get a phone? And you're just like, no, not yet. You don't need a phone yet. I didn't get my first phone until seventh grade. But since I got held back, I got it when I was technically in eighth grade.
Right.
But I was in seventh grade. But you know what I mean?
I do, you know, and the funny thing is there's a theme you're talking about here is that, and I've heard this from people on the podcast who are basically screen experts. So expert in the psychology of what screens do to you over time, which just to kind of share with you. So a screen in your generation, there's a couple parts, there's several parts of your brain, but one is the producer, which is the creative, and one is the consumer, which is you consume content. The other one is you create content. Like right now, you are creating content right now. Yeah. You and I are being creative. We're using our creative parts of our brain right now to have this conversation to bring value to others. Just like when you're doing Imagine X or you're trying to put together a little fan with the engineering things and all those things. So you're creating things. And then there's the consumer when you're like watching a show or a movie and you're just taking in content. And all these like screen experts that I've had on the podcast, they talk about like when kids get screens at an early age, it shuts that creator off. And you know, and the consumer is on. It's almost like the consumer's in the driver's seat. Yeah. And what happens over time is when you tell a kid like, hey, go be productive like you, or like, hey, go play outside, go do something. They're just like, what do I do? Yeah. It's like, you know, Brian Regan, it's a cup of dirt. Let's go play. Let's go play with this stick. No.
It was like, where the parents, Brian Regan, would be like, all right, kids, go outside for a minute. We're going to be in here. And they're just like, the sun stare. Hey, Brian, let's play the sun stare. The record is 5 seconds. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get 6. Let's not play that ever again. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. Oh my God. Then you know what I'm referencing to.
Dude, we did the sun stare. But yeah, anyway, but like, seriously.
You just find random things to do.
Yeah, you do. You do find things to do. But like, so anyway, going back to this, like anytime I see on social media, especially Facebook, because that's like the adult thing, right? I see this question a lot. What age do I get my kid a phone? And I've seen this comment over and over and over and over again. And I think you just kind of proved it. And the comment is this: whenever you want your child's childhood to be over. Yeah.
Whoa.
Boom. Right? Boom.
Whoa.
Yeah, because you just sat here and talked about like how you actually like totally came to life talking about Imagine X and all this other stuff and like costumes and all this stuff. And then like how exciting that was. And like,
Yeah.
I saw that like little kid in you. And like, even me, like, I'm like, dude, like I played with He-Man and G.I. Joes and all this. Like, it was so cool. Like, right. And then like, when you get a phone, it's almost like you kind of like go like in this hypnotic state. But here's the other flip side to it. I think phones, devices, they're going to be a part of society. Here's now the battle that I'm seeing with your little brothers. And I think when you and Mason got a phone, that battle was just starting. So like, I had a conversation with Lawson the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Lawson's 11. He's going to 6th grade. And Lawson, I swear, I think he's the only kid in his class that doesn't have a phone.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous how many kids
Yeah.
that are younger than him,
Right.
that have a
Like
phone.
First graders and stuff. Like he's got a Bark Watch. So the Bark Watch, it I've talked about it on the podcast. You can text, you can call, you can leave audio message, you can do videos.
Can you see their location?
Yeah, and that's one of the
Okay.
other big things too. So they can like leave the house and go play with friends, and I know right where they're at.
Yeah.
But like he seemed really sad like a couple weeks ago, and maybe you can give some advice on this too. And I was like, "What's going on, man?" And he's like, "I just feel left out." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "All my friends have phones. Like all my friends have a group chat. I don't. I'm not a part of that group chat. I don't have a phone. Like people want to send like videos and photos and stuff in a group chat. And they're like, Lawson, what's your number? And he's like, I don't have one. I have a Bark Watch. And they're like, oh, and they kind of like look at him like, oh, okay, well, you're kind of like, you're like
An
the
outcast,
you
yeah.
know? So now it's just like, now I find myself like, well, God bless, like, do I just cave as a parent and just like, I'd get him a Bark phone. Like that Bark now makes a phone. So I wouldn't go get him like some iPhone. Like, yeah, here's a window to the world. Go have fun. I'd get him a Bark.
What's wrong with that?
Right, I know, right? But I would get him a Bark phone, which is, he can do, he could be on group text and stuff like that. He just can't like surf the internet and for bad things and that kind of thing. But now I'm just like, do we get him a phone? Because now he's like the one kid without one. Anyway, there's all this pressure going back to you and there's like all this pressure out there with these devices and like Snapchat, right? So like the whole thing with, okay, can you explain this one?
Yeah.
Like, and I think everybody else needs, like, so what is the deal with like your streaks and stuff like that? Which, by the way, is another dopamine hit. Oh, I've got 214 streaks or whatever, like whatever it is. But like, what is the importance of streaks and what is the deal with Snapchat in your opinion?
Okay, so Snapchat is more of a platform that teenagers, more like my age, or people younger or older, doesn't really matter, that use it as a communication app, just like text messages, but they send pictures to each other. They have like filters, and I don't know. This is like a recent thing, maybe a couple years ago. I think I've only had Snapchat for a little over a year. Like it hasn't been that long. Yeah, a little over a year. Coming up in 2 years in like October, I think. It actually tells me the date I first got it.
Happy anniversary.
Oh yes, so cool. That's worth
happy
celebrating.
Snatchersary.
So stupid. But anyways, I think a couple years ago they added a feature where the person you are sending snaps to will go through a streak of like day 1 of sending a snap, day 2, day 3, and so on. Like me and my girlfriend, we have a snap streak of almost a whole year. It's at 363 days. People have like thousands of days though. Like, but people are always like, no, keep this streak on. I'm just like, why does it matter? Me personally, I don't care about the streak. It's just a weird thing. And like, I could lose the streak with my girlfriend. I could lose my streak with anyone. I don't care.
But what do you think the importance of it is though? Like, why do people?
Well, mostly people I guess it's like a way of like, this is how many days we have been able to connect or find a way to at least reach out to one another.
So it's a connection thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't really think it's that big of a deal. It's like, I treat it like the text messaging app, except I just send pictures to someone. And, like before I had Snapchat, I would just text people and I would just text them whenever I want. Sometimes it'd be days, sometimes it'd be hours, sometimes it'd be minutes. You know what I mean? Like I could respond whenever I want. It wouldn't affect anything. But now I feel like if I just simply don't respond for like a full 24 hours and I lose the streak, people are like, they're just like, why would you do that? Like we had a streak going. I was like, I don't even care. I actually had people like, they would snap me for like 3 days. and they would lose it, and they'd be like, "Hey, sorry, I didn't snap you. I was grounded." I was like,
So there's even like the pressure to
people would like
yeah.
actually apologize. Like, what are you apologizing for? Like, because we
Wow.
lost our streak. I was like, I don't care. I don't care.
That's crazy.
Whatever
Wow,
you're going
okay.
through, I can't hold you accountable for this. Like, I can't control our streak. I can't control your life. Like,
So they're measuring the number of days, like the streak of like we're good,
yeah,
we're connected, like
yeah, pretty
we're buddies,
much.
we're
But
friends.
unless you and your buddy don't really care about the streak, then it really shouldn't be a concern. But to me, it's not a concern.
Kind of makes sense. Okay, I didn't really understand that part. Okay,
I
so
didn't either until like after a few months I first got it. I was like, what? I mean, I don't really care about the streak still. Like, I could lose the streak with my closest people on Snapchat and I would still not care.
so that's Snapchat then. So that makes sense. And then let's talk about this too. Like we were talking about this before we hit record today. Like I remember, I feel like obviously I don't know girls, obviously because I don't raise girls, but what I see online is these are girls that like I can't even imagine the pressure for a female to look a certain way because like the filters and all the stuff like on Instagram, like girls will post pictures of them and they look like they were made of plastic, like they look perfect. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here thinking like, my gosh, if that's the image that that the average girl has to like live up to, I can't even imagine the pressure of that. Also, like I remember like I go to the gym almost every day and I see all kinds of people from your school all the time. And dude, there are more young men with insane muscular physiques these days than when I grew up. Like when I grew up, like if you were skinny and didn't have a lot of body fat, like you were in shape. And I'll never forget this one guy. This guy was like a specimen anomaly in my high school. I'll never forget, Gus Metzger was his name. This dude was so jacked and he had muscles and veins and like he looked pretty much like half the dudes that go to your school. And he was like, people would look at him like that guy's a freak. Like, because that wasn't normal, like growing up. And like, you know, and there was another guy who was a senior who was a couple years ahead of us he was huge. And I'm talking like muscle and ripped. And we were like, I mean, he was like a complete and total outlier. And now like those dudes are everywhere. And it seems like social media for you guys has also like really, really raised the bar for what a man, like a young man should look like now. I mean, do you feel that pressure or do you feel like your other friends feel that pressure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because like it's like they especially with the content, some of those influencers back, they're like, if you're not going to the gym, you're a weirdo, or like they say a little more colorful language, but a little more colorful. But like I'm just like, oh no, they make you feel terrible, and then you get in the gym, but
They
it's
gym
also
shame
like-
you. They gym shame you into
Yeah.
the motivation.
yes, pretty much, or
Yeah.
they just like it's like just that feeling like, oh, I need to be big, I need to be
Yeah.
strong. Like I actually have recently been feeling this pressure of like I need to protect. I need to feel like I'm like I don't want to be like some out of shape person that can't protect like my girlfriend or my future kids. Like I want to have this kind of physique or like a body that knows like I can protect, because this is kind of a dark topic of what I'm about to say, but like this guy interviewed like I don't know if I should say.
Go ahead. I mean, we can always edit it out, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's like a child predator.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking. No, you can
Yes.
talk about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was like a too sensitive of
no.
a topic.
No, this is good.
You told me this story,
Yeah.
but this guy interviewed a child predator. He would kidnap kids and I think use them for like
You
money.
molest them.
Molest them or
Yeah.
like sex trafficking and
Right.
stuff like that. Like terrible things to these kids, young boys and girls. Like and he said, I'm observant because like he'd be like, what would be the motivation that will get you to take them.
Exactly.
And you'd be like, if the dad or the mom is out of shape, and I was like, I need to stay in shape so I can, like, I guess scare them off, or
Yeah.
even like be able to protect. And even if that's not enough, I need to know how to protect if they get a little into some contact. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't even remember them saying the mom in shape. I remember them saying
I think that's what they said,
Yeah.
but they mostly said like the dad
The
isn't
dad.
in shape. But I would think it would go both ways. 'Cause, like, what if you come across a mom that's like in crazy good shape,
like
and
your
you're just
mom.
like, yeah, for real. Yeah, like, would you want to mess with her? Probably not.
No,
but,
I have messed with her. She's strong.
yeah.
But no, no, I'm glad you're bringing this up because, yeah, I know exactly. The first time I ever saw that video, it gave me chills because I'm
Mhm.
sitting here, I'm listening to this interview of this pedophile, and the guy asks him, like, what was the number one deterrent from you taking a kid? And he's like, I would size up the dad. And if the dad looked like he could take me out, I'd pass
Yeah.
and move on, go to the next target. And so like
that's terrible.
you know what I mean? So here's the thing, man. Like, this may sound like some really tough love. And I know that I'll never forget, but I do want to send a message to dads out there. I don't think that you have to have a 6-pack to be a good dad, right? But I do think I'll never forget when you and I were at the Squire.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember the time where so the Squire, meaning like it was a rite of passage that Bedros Keuilian I'm talking about for the audience so they know. So it's 15-hour crucible. Bedros Keuilian put it on. It's ran by Navy SEALs and Special Op Marines and that kind of thing. And it's a challenge. Like,
it's not easy.
Yeah, it's 15-hour kind of like crucible, right?
Yeah.
There's part though in the Squire where they take the boys. So it was 30 dads and 30 boys. They take the boys, and you guys went and did your own PT, and Bedros and Steve took us in a classroom, and and Bedros sat us down, and it got really uncomfortable in that room because Bedros looked around the room. He's like, guys, I'm going to be really, really honest. He goes, and you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you. He goes, but a kind man is one thing, but you need to be a kind, dangerous man too. And he goes, and I'm telling you right now, I see a lot of kids that are really in shape here. And I look at their dads, and their dads are in shape. And I see a lot of fat kids here too. And I see their dads, and there's a lot of fat guys here too that don't look like they can be dangerous. He goes, you have to be the example. And I'm not saying that, I don't want to insult anybody in the audience, but I do think that there is a responsibility of a father to be somewhat physically healthy, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like you have to look like Chris Bumstead.
Right. You don't have to be like you jump on stage or like you have to like some lethal weapon, but I think you should look healthy enough to protect yourself and your child.
You should be able to see your toes.
Right. And
sorry, that's pretty mean, but
no, but I think that there's something to that. Like I think you should, and I think there's a couple different ways to look at it. I think there's a lot of guys that like they shame themselves into the gym, or they care about themselves and their family, and that's why they get to the gym. And I think it's the latter that I think is the more powerful, and it's the most sustainable. But yeah, going back to it, I think it's really, really important that, you are somewhat dangerous, right? But going back to this whole social media thing, like the pressure for a young man, that maybe we don't understand. Like I'm seeing more and more like kids your age, young men your age, who are like counting protein grams, and which I guess I'd rather see a young man do that than be completely just a bump on a log and not do anything and play video games for 18 hours a day. I think that's really dangerous too.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's an ungodly amount of pressure on you guys that you have to look a certain way too. Is that accurate?
Like physique.
Physique,
huh? Yeah. I mean, yeah, kind of, but it also is I guess nowadays it's a pretty good motivator for most people because it gets them to like really start focusing on their physical like health and everything. But yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Like, and like if you're not holding up yourself up to that pressure, and it's almost like you get this shame and a little bit of jealousy too from other people. Like, oh, I want to look like that, but here I am looking like a bum, even though you've already done 6 days out of the week in the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like an example.
I mean, that's a good example because like my generation, we did not spend, like, we did our sports
Yeah.
there, and we had weight training in school, but you didn't, like, I remember when I first joined a gym when I was 17, and I was one of the youngest dudes in there,
Mhm.
like by far. There was no one hardly ever my age in a gym that young. It was mostly guys in their like early 20s and mid 20s and then in the 30s. But yeah, it's like there's that. So like I'm glad we addressed that. But there's let's wrap up the show with this. What would you like for me to understand about maybe some of the things that you think I don't understand as it relates to, social media and your social circle and your, the devices, maybe the pressures that you feel that maybe I don't quite understand?
Oh man, I don't really know. There's so many
Would it help if
things.
I maybe gave you some examples?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll ask this question. What would you, instead of me being like, dude, get off your freaking phone, man, like go do something else. Like, what would you rather have? What would be a more fruitful and effective conversation?
I would love it if you would be like, maybe some, if I'm like scrolling or doom scrolling, but actually, I want to say this really fast. I have a screen time. So I'm not like doom scrolling for 8 hours a day on my phone. But, anyways, as I was saying, um, I guess I would love for it to be like, hey, can we talk for a second instead of being like, I guess, barging into my room. Not saying you do that very often. Like, it's once in a blue moon you would do that. But sometimes you would barge in and be like, "Come on, man, like, let's get off the phone, do something productive. Like you got things you could do. Like you could clean your room, you could go to the gym, you could go hang out with a friend, go just do something instead of just doom scrolling the entire day. But it'd be more of like a get off your phone, find something to do a little more productive, and then you'd give me a list. And sometimes I wouldn't know what to do, but I think it would be like if you approached it a little bit more like can we talk for a second and just be like, hey, I would really appreciate it if you kind of find something else to do instead of doom scrolling, and I will actually listen because I'm pretty good about putting my phone down when you need me to, or like when I have to, because sometimes whenever I don't, it's hard for me to not put it down. Because then it just ruins my day, honestly. Because I get too depressed or I just become blue from all that screen time.
I know we were going to end, but we need to talk about that.
Okay.
That's actually, as you were talking, like I'm starting to try to think about like if there like I think about your day. You get up, you kind of like start your day. You get on your phone, and then you go. I don't know if you know this or not, but you go in a flow state with the brain.
Yeah.
Which means you lose time.
Yeah.
And then
just time kind of flies, and you don't even realize until you look up.
And then you put your phone down, and you're like, I should probably go do something. And then you go do a little something, and you're like, I need to probably check my phone.
And then you end up doing it.
And then you do it again. And then you're like, I think, okay, I got to go. What was I going to do? And then you put it down, and then you go do a thing, and you're like, oh, let me go. And then all of a sudden, like, you're back at it. Like, to me, like, does that cause anxiety? Like, does that cause?
Me personally, it doesn't necessarily cause anxiety. It causes depression.
Yeah.
Like, are you talking about anxiety? Like, I feel like I should be on my phone right now. Like, I'm missing something.
Maybe it's depression. Like you just don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah,
like
it just
lose
kind of
motivation.
You lose motivation if like I'll be laying in my bed scrolling, and then I'll be like looking at the time. It's like, let's just say I started at like noon. It's like, I'm speaking hypothetically, and it has happened before. But like when before I got a screen time, it'd be like 5 p.m. and I've been scrolling for like, not necessarily scrolling, but I actually used to use YouTube a lot more. and I'll be like, I'll be looking at videos for hours and hours. And then I would just like,
So how does your screen time not kick in then?
no, this was before I had a screen time.
Okay.
When I got one, I stopped being on my phone as much because there's nothing else to really do. So I would get this like really depressive like state of mind. I'd be like, ugh, no, I feel gloomy and tired. I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to. Those fireworks.
Those are fireworks.
Sorry. Anyways, but I just felt like I just didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be in my bed and just. Ugh.
So there's psychology
Rot.
behind that. Do you know that? It's so like when you're scrolling like that, it's actually taxing your central nervous system. So you might not be moving, but there's so many like hits on your
Like whenever you're,
brain
because it's receiving so much information.
It's brain fatigue. So it's a lot like, think of like how you'd feel if you ran on the treadmill for 3 hours.
Yeah, oh gosh.
Like what your legs would feel like. That's what your brain feels like. So like it doesn't surprise me at all that when you stop scrolling, you're like, holy crap! Like I don't feel like doing anything. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I feel really tired.
We actually, so when we go on vacation, you guys turn off our screen time occasionally. Like if it's a road trip, especially, and we're in the car for hours, like you guys kind of just turn it off for now and just. But there will be times I won't even make it an hour, and I'm just like, I don't even want to be on this right now, and I would just either try to sleep in the car, or I would listen to music, or I would talk with you guys, or I would look out the window. But most of the time, I'd be like, man, I'm just so done with screens. I feel bleh.
Well, let me ask you this: tomorrow's Saturday, so let's just talk about a day in the week.
Okay.
So like tomorrow, like let's just say, like I know what we've been doing. We've been pretty structured around here as far as like the time you get up and that kind of thing. But like
8 a.m. sharp.
Let's just say tomorrow, like your normal Saturday, like how can you think about this? And I really want to think about this.
Okay.
How can you create a day where you get in front of all of that? In other words, like you're attacking your day instead of like your phone attacking your brain. So like how do you make tomorrow Saturday? Like think of, and I'm not asking you like, oh, I got to go out and be like, I want you, like, what do you want to do tomorrow? Like, let's just say if you had your phone for 2 hours tomorrow, and let's just say I had your phone in my pocket, and I'd be like, Ethan, you can have this for 2 hours today. Now you're 19 years old. I'm not going to do that, but I want you to think like if I had your phone for 2 hours, or I'm sorry, I had your phone all day, but 2 hours, what kind of day would you create?
I would create like an agenda for myself mostly. Like, I think I would, well, actually, I still need to finish up some stuff in my room, like completely organize my clothes. I could do a ton of laundry. Like right now, I'm actually emptying my entire hamper and seeing how many clothes I have. I'm going to get rid of clothes that don't fit anymore. I'm going to put more clothes in my closet and hang them up. Or I'm going to fold them up and put them in my dresser. I'm going to do something like that tomorrow for sure.
Perfect. So, like, let's start with, like, the time you wake up. Like, what time would you want to wake up?
If I'm usually sleeping in, it'd be roughly around 10 a.m. or so.
Okay, and this tomorrow's Saturday.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, we let you sleep in on the weekends. So let's just say you get up at 10 a.m. Normally, the story I'm telling myself is you probably grab your phone, see what time it is, and then you probably open it up and you're seeing what's going on, right?
Mostly, like, I'd see, like, who's snapping me, who's sent me some text messages, stuff like that. Or who has, like, sometimes I'll get people sending me, like, reels on Instagram, see who sent me some stuff whenever I didn't have screen time. So, yeah, those kinds of things.
So what if tomorrow morning you didn't have your phone? And what would you do?
I'd just get up.
Okay, and what would you do after that? So, like, let's
I'd
just
get
say...
out of bed, probably get dressed, or go upstairs, make myself some breakfast.
What would you have for breakfast?
Lately, I've been having, like, eggs and toast.
Yeah, smegs and toast.
Smegs and toast, sunny side up.
So you have healthy breakfast, you have eggs and toast. What did you do after that?
Shower. I'd probably shower.
Okay.
Maybe, like, are we talking, like, what would I actually, like?
Yeah, I'm, like, totally, like, what would you do tomorrow?
I think after my shower, I would make my bed and get started on organizing my clothes.
Okay. So let's say you do that for a couple hours. Like, let's just say it's 1:00. What do you do after that?
I'll probably make myself a quick lunch.
What would you have?
Probably like a sandwich. I'll make myself like a ham or turkey and cheese.
Okay.
Or I'd go out and get lunch, but I don't usually go out as much as I used to. I'd probably make myself some lunch. I normally make a sandwich. I actually have a whole container of pineapple in my refrigerator, my mini fridge, because, I actually have really started falling in love with pineapple. So I would snack on that, actually.
Okay. So you'd have lunch. You're starting a full-time job on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Would you do anything to get prepared for that?
I'd shave.
Okay.
Because this is growing out again.
Well, I know. Also, you got to call your boss, right, and figure out what
that
first day looks like.
I do. You're right. Yes, I need to call him and ask him, like, do I get my uniform on the first day? What should I come in as? Am I being mailed my uniform? Like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to come in. What time should I come in? Am I coming in at open? Am I coming in at 9 a.m.? What time do you want me to come in?
Would you work out? Would you go to the gym?
Oh, yeah, of course I would. At some point in the day. I like to go in the evenings, though. I'm not much of a person that likes to do it in the afternoon or in the morning. I like to work out in the evening, mostly when the sun is down. That's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So technically, usually about this time I would be like, I would probably be in the gym.
What about friends? I mean, would you call a friend, like maybe like Vigo or one of your friends? Like, would you be like, hey man, like, what are you doing? Or Ian, he's in town. Like, would you be like, hey man, you want to hang out? Like,
yes, I would.
So you'd hang out with friends?
Yes, I would. I don't hang out with friends as much as I used to, but I would sometimes call up a friend and be like, hey, let's hang out. Let's go to the gym. Why don't you come back to my house and we'll hang out for a little bit?
All those things that you said, how would you end your day?
Without like my phone or anything?
Yeah, just I'm talking like, I mean, like let's just say there was a little bit of phone time in there, but you had to build a life. Your phone had to build a life around the things you wanted to do, not the other way around.
Oh. Well, here's what I would do. I'd have a little bit of phone time, and that would be the time to FaceTime Megan. I said her name.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's right. No one knows her last name. So, can I share something with you?
Yeah.
The way you were talking about a day tomorrow, a cool Saturday, did that feel good?
Seems very productive.
Your whole body language changed when you were talking about that. Like you came to life. When you were talking about what it felt like to be on your phone from 12 to 5, those rare occasions.
That was mostly middle school, though, but that was rough.
But you had a much different tone in your voice. You had much different body language. Like the way you talked about being depressed, you sounded depressed.
Really?
About being depressed. And then when you were talking about this, you sounded excited about what that day could be for you versus getting lost in it.
Yeah.
So, and you know what, gosh, man, maybe instead of get off your phone, Ethan, go do something productive. What if more dads had a conversation just like we just did?
That would be awesome, because then that way they are telling you what they're going to start doing. Like, and if they don't know, you could give them suggestions like, well, why don't you wake up, go take a shower, like someone I said, go clean your room, go call a friend, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out examples.
Go live your life, like instead of like
living it through a phone.
Yeah, living it through the phone. Like I just, well, first of all, man, none of this was planned, and I really I thought it was really fascinating.
No, we don't have a script. We don't have anything.
But I mean, you gave me like a really. It's funny, man. Like I gotta be honest. Like, you know, I think about all those times like I was really, really triggered seeing you on the phone, but like it was probably like a part of you that's like, I'm in this phone, but I really don't want to be in this phone. You know what I mean? It was almost like hard to find that, and maybe the conversation needs to be like connecting instead of demanding.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, what would your day look like if you didn't have your phone as often as you usually do? And like what you were saying, you are in your phone, but you don't really want to be on your phone, but you can't put it down. That's like the feeling of like, oh, I really need to get started.
Yeah.
One more video.
Well, just one more. This is my last one, I swear.
And then you're like 20 more videos in.
Well, you know who Steve Jobs is, right?
No.
Yeah, I know, right?
Is that the guy who made the TV? No, I'm just kidding. I know what you're talking about.
Do you want to know a little something about Steve Jobs?
He doesn't let his kids be on his, like, he has like a screen time boundary.
Well, he's dead. See, he died.
Well, he had.
He died. No, he did not allow his kids to have the iPhone or the iPad because he knew the addictive tech that they were making. They knew how addictive it was. So he didn't allow his own kids on the one thing that he invented.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
I actually think I read a book about that. Like, people like Microsoft, Apple, I think a few others, they didn't let their kids use the stuff they invented because they were fully aware of what they were doing.
They were fully aware that this is a device nobody can put down.
It's very addictive.
It is. Well, dude, we planned on like 30 minutes. We went an hour.
Oh, yay.
But if the time flew, these are by far becoming my favorite shows. And by the way, guys, for those of you who have gone on YouTube and commented and shared your feedback for Ethan, thank you so much. And those of you guys who are leaving us iTunes reviews, I've seen a few have mentioned your name. That just means the world to you, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh! Whenever I say like, that's me.
So, guys, if you're enjoying the show, man, head on over to Apple, leave us a 5-star review. Don't forget our sponsor today, First Form. Go check out all their new products, man. They're level 1. I love the Grape Smash. Like I said, that energy drink. We are going to be putting on order the iced oatmeal cookie. I can't wait to try that. Yeah.
We have to make ice cream for it.
Oh, yes, the fat kid and us love that. But yeah, gentlemen, from my heart to yours, thank you so much for tuning in today. You can find everything we're doing over at thedadedge.com. Go check out our sponsor, firstform.com/Dad Edge. And if you want to live life in our brotherhood, if you want to live life up close and personal in our virtual brotherhood, head on over to thedadedge.com/mastermind. Apply, book a call with our team, and join us for our brotherhood. Gentlemen, from my heart to yours, go out and, come here, kiddo. Colton's back in my office. Say, live legendary.
Live legendary.
Yeah.